everyone. So for today's video for the readings in Philippine History subject course, we will focus on the Proclamation of the Philippine Independence. So ano bang meron doon sa document, sa speech ni Andres Bonifacio? Ano bang meron when it comes to the Philippine independence, the surrounding context around it? So the Philippine independence, we always commemorate it on June 12th. Okay, the independence was proclaimed on June 12, 1898 at Kawit, Cavite or Cavite Viejo. Dito, sa picture na to, sa bahay na ito, prinoklama ang independence. So it is a 2,000 word document that summarized the reason behind the revolution against Spain, the War of Independence, and the future of the new republic under Emilio Aguinaldo. 6 times declaring independence. It means 6 times na nag-declare ng independence. Kumbaga lumalaya na ang ibang bayan pero hindi yung soberanya. July 4, 1946 yung mismo sovereign rights or pagiging independent. Kumbaga hawak na ng bayan yung kapangyarihan. Kaya ng mamahala sa sarili. Yun yung sovereign rights. So, the proclamation again is not the actual sovereign but hoping for independence. So before we move to the document, we must focus or define democracy. So how do you define this word? You can choose which term you would like to use. Terms, mga terminologies na pwede idikit sa demokrasya, statement. So, from the survey of Schaefer, nag-interview siya ng 139 respondents in Barangay Commonwealth asking what is the meaning of demokrasya. So, from the survey, 76% daw ay civil rights daw ang demokrasya. While 89% used the word kalayaan or malaya. Yan. They are free to do all the things you want. Or yung mga freedom of speech. Yeah. But democracy means in the majority. Decision of the majority. Hindi siya, kumbaga lagi siyang dinidikit ng mga tao sa word na kalayaan, which is not. So dahil nga kalayaan yung laging dinidikit sa word na demokrasya, we will look on the kumbaga origin of the word kalayaan. So kalayaan is from an Italian prayer book that is usually used during Flores de Mayo. So nabasa ito ni Father Mariano V. Sevilla na taga Bulacan. Tapos na-adapt ni Marcelo H. Del Pilar kasi nasa Bulacan lang din si Del Pilar. Kumbaga napunta sa consciousness ng ilang tao ang salitang kalayaan na na-popularized by Jose Rizal. Ito yung nagpatunay na hindi sinulat ni Jose Rizal yung sa aking mga kabata. Kumbaga, nalaman niya ang word na kalayaan nung siya ay in 20s. Pero yung kanyang sinulat na sa aking mga kabata ay sinulat daw niya nung 8 years old. Pero ginamit, may naggamit ng word na kalayaan on that poem sa aking mga kabata. And popularized by Jose Rizal and other Katipuneros. But for Bonifacio, that time ang ginagamit niya ay pagkatimawa. Before, we have the Alipin, Timawa, Maharlika, and Timawa means freeman. So, yun yung hinalili ni Bonifacio sa word na freedom or libera. Kasi hinahanap ni na Rizal kung ano yung pwede nilang gamitin ng word for freedom or libera. So, kahilyawan in Visayan or hiwalay in Tagalog. Kumbaga, hiwalay, kahilyawan, that means separate from anything that binds you. So, the politicos before thought that kalayaan is just the separation from the colonizers. But we have our own concept. Yan, nakasarin lang. A concept that is more internal to indicate self-determination, to permit our own destiny when it comes to our political goal. Kumbaga, yung mga sumunod na naupo, they only wanted to be free, then acquire the power, but didn't want to guarantee independence. Kasi nga, balik tayo dun sa nation concept. Kumbaga, na-educate sila from the Western political thinking. So, Western political thinking, nasusulat yung karapatan nila on the paper. But where is the action? Kaya nga gusto ni na Bonifacio, kaginhawaan. Yung maramdaman ng mga Pilipino na nasa kanila na. Talagang independent na ang mga Pilipino. So, from that, kalayaan became, as a concept, as merely political and does not actually embody our aspirations for our own destiny. Kumbaga, the traditional politicians will never achieve being maginoo as embodied by kasarinlan. They continue to allow foreign influence to dominate us. But again, yung kasarinlan, this concept is not found in dictionary. Kumbaga, hindi siya na-define lang ng talagang dictionary, objective. We Filipinos define this concept. Remember the pantayong pananaw. We define it based on our culture para maintindihan at makabuluhan para sa atin. We are connected. It is significant to us. So in order to have well-being, kasarinlan, we must be righteous. Righteous, well-being, we have freedom. So the author of the speech of Andres Bonifacio is Ambrosio Rienzares Bautista, the Auditor of War and Special Commissioner. Yeah. This is the primary source, the document itself written by Ambrosio. So ito ay mga part lang ng document. Yan, take into the consideration that their inhabitants, blah, blah, blah. Akin ang i-skip to save time for our video. So in this part, it states the unjust experiences of the Filipinos from the civil guards. Tapos, exempted mula sa mga kasalanan ito, mga pare, mga friars, archbishop, or yung mga may kaya. Kasi kaya nilang bayaran yung mga civil guards. Yan. Basta na lang nilang binabaril ang mga tumatakas kasi nga wala na silang pake doon. Hindi na nila hinuhuli to ask why they did that. Wala nang hearing-hearing na maganap. Basta nahuli ka or napagdiskitahan ka ng mga civil guards, ikukulong ka. Next. Yan. On this part, it is declaring Aguinaldo as the president. Yeah. The supreme chief of this nation. And also Rizal was mentioned, yan, which he composed when he was preparing to be liberating it from the yoke of Spanish domination. The next, yeah, about the Philippine flag and the Katipunan. But it didn't mention Bonifacio and friends. Kasi nga may alitan. Even though Aguinaldo is part of the Katipunan, ay nahahati pa ang Katipunan to two groups which are Magdiwang and Magdalo. Kita nyo, famous Katipunan Society. Pero walang Bonifacio. Pero na-mention nila si Rizal. Talaga. But not the names of Bonifacio, Jacinto. Ano pa yung iba? 3 stars, principal islands of the archipelago. Luzon, Mindanao, and Panay. 8 rays, 8 provinces. The colors of blue, red, and white. Commemorating the flag of the United States of America as a manifestation of our profound gratitude towards this great nation for its disinterested protection which it lent us and continues lending us. As observed by our historian Ambeto Campo, the original document in Spanish states na separate talaga ang Spain. But we are doing it under the protection of the powerful humanitarian North American nation. Kumbaga, from that simple statement, hindi talaga or hindi totally freed ang mga Filipinos. Parang pinasa lang tayo, pinagbenta lang tayo ng mga Spaniards sa North American nation. So, little did the Filipinos know that at that time, na short-lived lang ang ganap. So, the Philippine flag is born of the revolution against Spain and assistance from the Spain. Akala ng karamihan noon, ang blue, red, and white, it symbolized freedom, peace, bravery, ganyan. Pero sa katunayan, mula mismo sa primary source, a gratitude towards USA. Tayo under the protection of the USA. So the next is the figure. It can be found in the Malacanang website. And if you know that our sun mostly have a face in the circle and also from other countries na may mukha ang araw, it's because it symbolizes freedom. But the face incorporated in the sun is already in our anting-anting. Mata, mukha, na naka-incorporate sa different shapes, nasa anting-anting na natin yan. Because according to Dr. Zeus Salazar, an ethnologist and historian, our anting-anting is in the shape of triangle that forms a mountain. So going back from the voyage of Magellan, yung mountain for the Waray, it is sacred. Again, our natives consider mountain as sacred, kaya ganon. And also with eyes in the middle, kumbaga, talagang hindi lang tayo magre-refer to other countries na freedom. It symbolizes freedom, but we also have our own. Iba lang ang pagkakagamit or coincidence na magkaparehas. For freedom, something sacred. So, on the next slide, it is a clip from Ambeto Campo.
What I
So
showed
this
you in
clip
this short
is from the
presentation is that many of these things many
Let me
people
finish that
say,
first.
ay nako, Ambeto Campo is a trivia collector, he's an antiquarian. But I'd like to think that in the modern age, we have lost our appreciation for useless information. And many times, I always encourage my students to keep digging up and to appreciate useless information. Because I realized from my work that the true magic of history lies not in the useless information. The magic of history lies not in its memorized data. The magic of history, the true magic of history, lies in the connections between the data and also the relevance of the data. Therefore, in this short talk, I hope I have been able to let us go back to look on the past, see some parts of what happened on June 12, 1898, and look at it from our present. And with that knowledge, we can walk towards the uncertain but hopefully good future. Finally, I want to remind everyone that when we think of June 12, 1898, we should remind our students and ourselves that it was one thing to declare independence, and it is another thing to know what to do with that independence. The Declaration of Independence did not make us independent just by saying it. We have to work on it. And many times, over a century since June 12, 1898, I'd like to think that even this day, we are trying and working to make ourselves independent, not from a foreign colonizer, but to make ourselves independent from ignorance, from pain, from suffering, from poverty, things that make us live and make us real Filipinos. So, my message for today, go back, look back to June 12, 1898, and remember that its relevance is not what happened then, but to remember that it is one thing to declare independence and another to know what to do with that independence. Thank you, and good afternoon. What I showed you
So
in this
that
short
is again
presentation
the clip
is that
from
many of these
Ambeto
things, many
Campo on
people
the
say,
21st
ay nako,
anniversary
Ambeto
of
Campo is a
Independence
trivia
Day. So
collector, he's an
this is from the
antiquarian. But
virtual
I'd like to
symposium
think
last
that
June
in the
10,
modern
2022.
age, we have
So
lost our
again, Mr.
appreciation for
Ambeto
useless
Campo have
information.
mentioned,
And
yeah, one thing
many
to declare
times, I always
independence.
encourage
It is
my
another to
students
know
to
what
keep
to do
digging up
with
and to
that
appreciate
independence.
useless
So
information.
for you, you are given
Because
the
I realized from my work
opportunity
that
to
the
have
true
this
magic
kind of
of
freedom
history lies not
na
in the useless
malaya.
information. The
You are,
magic of
yeah,
history
freedom of
lies not
speech, you
in
have the
its
rights.
memorized
So what to
data.
do with
The
those
magic of
rights?
history, the true
What to
magic
do
of
with that
history,
freedom
lies in the
of speech?
connections between the data and
Kumbaga,
also the relevance of the data.
we just have
Therefore,
to
in this
be
short talk, I hope
a
I
good
have been able
citizen.
to let us
Kasi
go
madali
back
lang
to look
talagang
on the
maging
past, see
Filipino
some
citizen.
parts of
You
what
can
happened on June 12,
just
1898,
simply
and look at it
follow
from our present. And with that
the
knowledge, we
rules,
can walk towards the
yung mga
uncertain
batas na
but
meron sa
hopefully
Pilipinas.
good future. Finally, I want to remind everyone that when we think
So
of
for
June
you,
12,
what will you
1898,
do
we should
with
remind our
the
students and
independence,
ourselves that it was
with
one
your
thing to
rights?
declare independence, and it is
So
another thing
it is
to
up to
know
you.
what to do with that independence. The
Unlike sa
Declaration
mga
of
Pilipino
Independence
noon,
did
sila
not
ay
make us independent
abusado ng
just
mga
by saying it. We
gwardya, ng
have
mga
to work
private.
on it. And
How about
many
now? We
times,
are free to
over a
do
century
all things that
since
we want,
June 12,
post
1898,
something we
I'd like to
want,
think that
share
even this
something
day,
that we want,
we are trying and
even though it
working to
hurts
make ourselves
other people.
independent, not from a foreign colonizer, but to make ourselves independent from ignorance.
The next, Treaty of Paris. Ito yung sinasabi na yung under the protection of the North American nation. Pinagbenta ang Pilipinas. Yan. Kalayaan laban sa Espanya. Akala ng mga Pilipino, ito na. Then, umekse na ang mga Amerikano. So, Spain sold the Philippines and other South American countries for $20 million on December 10, 1898. June 12, nagsisimula pa lang. Pero pagdating ng December 10, wala na ulit. So, short-lived ang independence, yung pagsisimula ng mga Pilipino para maging malaya. So, the part where Bonifacio and and Aguinaldos, yung kanilang problema, the Tejeros Convention. Dito, ah, pag-uusapan na nila yung dispute between the two councils, what type of government should be installed. Yeah, March 22, 1897. Yeah, Andres Bonifacio was elected as the Secretary of Interior. And he is also from the Magdiwang. Pero, kumbaga, nadismaya si Bonifacio kasi hindi siya na-elect as uh, the president. Kumbaga, siya yung magiging supreme chief of the First Republic of the Philippines. Kasi gusto ng mga tao, lalo na si Tiro na dapat edukado at lawyer yung nasa position, ay nagalit si Bonifacio. He felt humiliated and demanded apology from Tirona. Pero hindi pa awat si Tirona. Kahit nga as a Secretary of Interior, pinapababa pa siya. Kasi nga, hindi siya graduate, he is not a lawyer. So, Andres Bonifacio decided, pinawalang bisa niya lahat ng nangyari na pag-usapan sa Tejeros Convention. Bad blood ang meron sa two council due to lack of respect and territorial competition. Yan, kahit pala noong una pa lang, kahit nasa katipunan na mismo, talagang hindi pa rin sila magkaisa when it comes to governing the Philippines. So re-examining this historical document shows that even though it is truthful most of the time, it exudes politics. Bonifacio and co-founders were not mentioned because of the conflict, bias. Ayaw ni na Ambrosio and na Bonifacio kasi they are threat to the position. They are threat to them. So bakit nila isasal si na Bonifacio? Again, it shows bias to whoever is in the power. At itong revolution, yung goal talaga nito ay bawiin yung mga lupain pabalik sa mga Pilipinas, especially in the part of Batangas and Laguna. Kaya nga sila sumali sa revolusyon kasi gusto nilang makuha yung mga lupaing sinasaka nila na kinuha ng mga praile. Kumbaga, they fought in hope of owning the lands. At yung issue na to ay na-left out kasi nga sina Aguinaldos na Ambrosio, they are landowners, mayayaman sila. So, di nila problema ito. And also, they are unfamiliar with the problems of the most poor Filipino. So, this tell us that looking at different perspectives, multiple sources, and historical evidences will give us a more nuance and analysis of our past. Hindi lang pala basta kalayaan ng mga Pilipino yung issue dito, kundi yung lupain. Gustong bawiin ng mga Pilipino yung lupain, pero hindi ito na-mention ni na Ambrosio kasi nga iba sila ng mindset, iba yung kinalakihan nila, iba yung problema nila. Na-influensahan din yung kanilang pagsusulat because of their subjectivity. Ano yung agenda nila? At pinakita nga na whoever is in power, sila yung mas may lamang. Sila yung may control to show what is happening on that event. And leaving out yung mga talunan like or yung mas inferior para sa kanila or even a threat to them na sina Bonifacio. So kahit talagang sa mismong historical document, kahit sina Aguinaldo, makikita na may pagkabias pa din. So, hindi lang basta nagfo-focus dun sa document na yon, sa proclamation na yon, pero tinitignan pa din ng ibang researcher, ng ibang historian kung ano pang meron sa event na to. Are there any stories to be told pa? Baka may iba pang issue surrounding it. Yun. So, sana makita yung ah, connection kung paano na-interpret, na-analyze itong Proclamation of the Philippine Independence. That would be all. Thank you.